You have called Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme. You've said that it's as useless as a pet rock. What do you really think?
You're going to have some kind of digital currency at one point. So I'm not against crypto. You know, Bitcoin itself has no intrinsic value. It's used heavily by sex traffickers, money launderers, ransomware. So I just don't feel great about Bitcoin. I applaud your ability to want to buy or sell it. Just like I think you have the right to smoke, but I don't think you should smoke.
I think it's absolutely ironic and hilarious that Jamie Dimon wants to lecture us about Ponzi schemes. So here you have the chairman of JP Morgan, a bank that's been involved in numerous scandals over the years. From the 2008 financial crisis to the illegal foreclosures and trading practices, to their involvement in one of the biggest Ponzi schemes in the history of Ponzi schemes. Of course, I'm talking about the Ponzi scheme orchestrated by the infamous Bernie Madoff. That was going on from the 80s all the way up to 2008, and JP Morgan provided banking services to Madoff despite a shitload of red flags and suspicious activities. And now Jamie Morgan wants to tell us that Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme. I think it's absolutely ironic and hilarious. Now that's number one. Number two, saying that Bitcoin is used for illegal activities and sex trafficking and all this bullshit. Well, I think the dollar is used for genocidal wars, and it's responsible for killing millions upon millions of people for decades right now. Because without the dollar, without the ability of the American government, of the Federal Reserve to print dollars out of thin air, the United States wouldn't be able to go into its foreign military expansionist wars and kill people to expand its own corrupt regime. So if you think Bitcoin is responsible for a few petty crimes, and I'm not saying that sex trafficking is a petty crime, but it's often, linked to Bitcoin, although there is hardly any evidence that Bitcoin is used heavily for those practices. In fact, the opposite is true. But if you are going to blame Bitcoin for these crimes, I think the dollar has more blood on its hands than Bitcoin. And we should worry about the dollars and not Bitcoin. And the third thing that Jamie Dimon talks about is that he says that Bitcoin has no inherent value. Now, of course, if you believe in the bullshit of mainstream economics, you're going to believe that Bitcoin has no inherent value. But if you have any rudimentary understanding of Austrian economics, in other words, of proper economics, you would know that value is subjective and there is no such thing as inherent value. If you are stranded in a deserted island and I give you a basket of water and food on one hand, and on the other hand they give you bars of gold, what are you going to pick? You are stranded in a deserted island, you have nothing to eat, no food, no water, no shelter. What's the value of gold then? It's nothing. That's because value is subjective, and everything derives its value from individuals, from their personal subjective preferences, and also depends on the context. So like I've said, in the context of you being in a stranded island, gold, the value of gold is nothing. But the value of water and food and shelter is everything. So value is subjective, nothing has inherent value. Not gold, not Bitcoin, not anything, because value is subjective, and value is derived from individuals' subjective personal preferences and context. So yeah, Jamie Dimon, chairman of JP Morgan, is full of shit. I mean, he's been talking shit about Bitcoin for years. I remember back in 2017, he also talked shit about Bitcoin and it dipped 20 something %. And then JP Morgan, the bank, they went on and bought a shitload of Bitcoin. That's how conniving these people are. So yeah, Jamie Morgan, you are full of shit. And if you are watching this video, don't listen to JP Morgan. Go buy Bitcoin. And if you don't understand Bitcoin, go watch my videos on Bitcoin, and specifically go watch the greatest scam the world has ever seen, or the greatest scam ever devised, where I explain what is money, what is Bitcoin, and the greatest scam the world has ever seen, and that is, of course, the dollar that Jamie Dimon likes to defend. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.